Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Okay. Chuck, you hear me okay? How you doing, Dan?
I'm good. I decide if I should get a glass of wine while I'm sitting.
You're allowed to.
Chuck, see if you can unmute yourself. Okay, perfect. Okay, I want to thank everyone for coming. We will start at a little after 5. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, it is 5 o'clock. Want to thank all of you for coming to our 2020 virtual athletic kickoff, and we're very happy to be able to bring it to you on Zoom tonight. So we've been looking forward to this. So before we begin, I'd like to do some introductions. I want to first introduce our principal, Diane Burbank.
Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the barbecue. Even though I don't eat barbecue, I miss being with you all on Center Quad. If you've not been to campus in a while, you'll know that the Center Quad is all torn up for a refresh, a renovation. So we wouldn't have been in the same spot anyway. And we're saving some money, not feeding everybody hot dogs and hamburgers, but welcome to the Zoom. And as always, go Wildcats.
Thank you, Ms. Burbank. Appreciate that. Next, I want to introduce Mr. Chuck Velskow, AVP, former athletic director.
Hello, Wildcats and new Wildcats. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Obviously, as Ms. Burbank said, a little non-traditional in terms of what we've done in the past. Hopefully, we're going to answer a lot of your questions that you may have in these uncertain times. And as always, if you ever have other things that come up, please just reach out and we will try and address anything that you may be concerned about. So thanks a lot also to Tim Faulkner, who put this whole thing together, and the ABO for all the work they've been doing.
Thank you, Mr. V. Appreciate that. Next, I want to introduce Ms. Zyra Padilla. She is our administrative assistant to Mr. Velskow. And Zyra, I believe you can unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Nice to see you all.
Thank you, Ms. Padilla. I appreciate that. And she handles many things in the office, and she handles clearances and that sort of thing. So we are very, very grateful that she is with us. So thank you so much, Zyra. And next, I'd like to introduce Meredith Mclean. She is our ABO president.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you, Tim, for putting this together today. So excited for the year coming. Even though it's going to look different, we're still excited for our Wildcats sports seasons. So we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Meredith. She will be sharing during the ABO slide presentation tonight as well. So I will share my screen here. Give me one sec. Okay. So again, welcome tonight to the Kickoff Barbecue. My name is Tim Faulkner. I'm the athletic director here at Woodside. This is my third year in this position. Before I took this position, I was the baseball coach here for many, many years and a teacher in the Redwood City School District. As well as being the athletic director here, I am also a teacher. I teach a section of freshman PE, and I teach our sports leadership class as well. My summer consisted of chasing my 6-year-old and my 4-year-old around the house. So that was my summer. So thanks again so much for joining us. Okay, before I introduce our coach slide, I just wanted to go over a few expectations tonight. We will have the chat open. Mr. Velskow will be monitoring that for questions. Ms. Padilla will be monitoring that as well, and we'll be able to answer questions in Spanish if needed. And Tammy Caterin will be monitoring the chat for ABO questions. So please keep the chat questions obviously respectful, and we will do our very best to answer those as we go tonight. It'll be about 45 minutes tonight, and Ms. Burbank will be hosting a Frosh orientation night. So we will value your time. We will also be posting this slideshow up on our website on Friday. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have a lot of sports here at Woodside. Here is basically a list of the sports that we have here. We have 22 sports, 45 teams, over 700 athletes. So here are our sports with our coaches listed. Normally, if we were doing a barbecue, we would have I would do coach introductions and that sort of thing. But the coaches are up on this slide. Some are on joining us tonight. So we're very happy that they're doing that. If it is blank by the sport that you see, that means we do not have an official coach yet. We are working very, very hard to hire the coaches for these sports, and we will have that all squared away before the season starts. On top, we have a full-time athletic trainer here, Andrew Law, who works 30 hours a week for us after school and takes care of all the athletes. He is on the Zoom as well. And then our strength and conditioning coach, Dan Peterson, who works with all the athletes after school, a normal day after school, but he is here 4 days a week as well to help all of our athletes. Okay, so we're going to start off with an explanation of just our athletic support. So how do we pay for sports here at Woodside? So we have funding for athletics. There's 4 separate sources that we have. We have Sequoia Union District funds that we use. We have student activities funds. We have rental facility funds that we can use. And then we have the Athletic Booster Organization. So 4 ways that we support our sports here at Woodside. And as a note at the bottom, some of these will be greatly impacted this year. So here's what the district pays for. And before I go in to this, I want to say welcome to all the freshman families who are on tonight. We are very, very excited that you are at Woodside, and we are looking forward to the next 4 years. So thank you so much for joining us. And hopefully this is a good presentation, even though it's not in person, but we're excited to be able to bring this to you as well. So welcome. So what the district pays for, they'll pay for our coaching stipends for all of our head coaches for all of our sports. They do pay for a few assistant coach stipends, programs with a larger number of student athletes. Football and track and field come to mind. Facility improvements, so the softball field, our beautiful softball field that we have here on campus was bond money, and the maintenance of the gym floor was redone in 2017. So big ticket items, the district can step in and pay for it. Our athletic trainer is paid for 30 hours per week. So we are very, very, very grateful that we have Andrew here. It's his 3rd year here at Woodside. He does a tremendous job taking care of our athletes and prepping them and getting ready to go compete. And the athletic budget, bus transportation, we have supervision at games, and reconditioning of certain equipment the district does take care of. Okay, student activities, what does that pay for? Well, student activities pays for officials for all of our sports. So every single sport that we have going here on campus throughout the year, 80% of them have officials. So how do we pay for those? Well, our student activities, that's how we pay. And that was $30,000 that we paid out last year. And keep in mind, our season was cut short in March. So that's typically around 37, 38,000. So it was a little bit lower this past year, but still a lot of money for officials. So each sports program that we have here on campus has their own club account. And that's how individual teams fundraise and pay for their uniforms, their equipment, that sort of thing. And officials for non-league games. Student activities will pay all league officials and 1 preseason contest. We pay administrative league fees, PAL and CCS, that we need to pay, extra training supplies, and some common equipment. We kicked in for a new ice machine, gym score table, and that sort of thing. Okay, so how is our student activities funded? So Miss Leslie With, our activities director, she teaches 2 sections of the leadership program as well, and we always kind of get together and figure out budgets and that sort of thing. But this upcoming year, it's going to be between $30 and $35 for a PAL sticker. Students purchase this with their ID, and in a typical year, it would provide discounts to school events and that sort of thing. Miss With has put together a bit.ly form, and I linked that onto this slideshow. And so there's going to be, so with a PAL sticker purchase, there's going to be an incentive for maybe a cheaper yearbook, that sort of thing. But there is an order form that's on this slideshow that's been linked. And like when I share it on Friday, you'll be able to have that link and go on there. And then attendance at football and basketball games. Those gate fees go to student activities. And are we going to be able to have that this year? We don't know. So that sort of thing, it pays for officials for all the sports. So that's kind of an idea of where the student activities is funded. And here's facilities. So this is our rental income. So we have great facilities here at Woodside. If freshman families, if you haven't walked around campus, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful campus. We have great athletic facilities. We are very, very lucky. We do rent those out, and that is income that we have here at school. And that goes to maintenance down at the baseball field, all the baseball netting that protects Woodside Road from foul balls. That came out of this account. Supervision of events, custodians. Obviously, and due to the pandemic, we had to shut down rentals in March, and it is very likely that we will be shutting down through December as well. So we're going to have to plan around that, definitely. So that is a revenue source that will be affected. Okay, and then with the ABO funds, I'm going to let Meredith go ahead and take over.
Hi again. I want to thank you, Tim. This year, I have the great pleasure to be the president of the ABO, partnering with Woodside High School Athletics and an amazing board of volunteers. We're so excited to help develop and plan as we move into the fall and design creative ways to keep our student athletes connected, supported, active, and of course, doing what they love, playing their sports. I am the parent of two Woodside High School student athletes. Courtney McLean is a senior and Casey McLean, an incoming freshman. I do see so many familiar faces on this call and look forward to all of us working together this year. If you have questions as I continue, please use the chat to ask, as our amazing treasurer, Tammy Catterin, will be answering those ABO questions for you. I love how Tim put everything else on this slide. That's very sweet. The Athletic Booster Organization does work in partnership with athletics, and we do fund several items. One of the main ones is our strength and conditioning program. Our strength and conditioning program that we support is for all of our athletes at Woodside. Sometimes our strength and conditioning coach works directly with coaches and teams, and other times he's in the weight room working with individual athletes. This summer, our strength and conditioning coach supported our pods of athletes that joined us on campus for our conditioning program by developing sports-specific conditioning programs for each pod. We also help pay for 4 assistant coach stipends. As Tim stated earlier in his presentation, the district funds the other assistant coach stipends. We do pay for 4 additional ones in order to help cover the cost of these additional assistant coaches to support our athletics teams. Then we've got uniforms and equipment. As equipment and uniforms are needed to be refreshed, the ABO does assist in helping our teams purchase these items. This year, in addition to helping purchase new uniforms, we were also able to purchase some other large equipment purchases, such as new cheer mats and the safety nets that you might have seen out on Bradley Field. These we helped purchase in order for our shared spaces to be safe for all of the teams present. These large purchases are not included in the direct donation asks that we have each season. We also help support our sports award ceremonies. At the end of each season, Woodside High School Athletics holds an award ceremony for the student athletes and their families of sports from that particular season. The ABO purchases the certificates, the plaques, and the varsity letters that are given to our student athletes. Also, we have senior sports scholarships, which I was just really enjoyed this year, getting to drive to people's homes to give them. But each year, the Athletics Scholarship Committee, a special committee of non-senior parents, chooses student athletes to award scholarships to based on several different criteria points. This past year, the ABO was able to personally select and delivers $6,000 worth of scholarship awards to senior student athletes. Lastly, the Huddle system. We fund the ability for our teams to use a video analysis system with Huddle software to analyze performance and to provide feedback for our teams in order to enhance on-site trainings and competitions. And next slide, thank you. So you wonder, how does the ABO fund these important programs? Because obviously you need money to do that. We do this through several ways. First, direct donations. These come from our parents of each sport. These are the funds that are collected from the parents at the beginning of each season to help cover the current season's cost and our strength and conditioning program cost. In some instances, we will assist in running an ETS campaign, which is a special campaign that would be directed at a specific, for a specific reason. An example might be a travel competition or some other gear that's needed for that particular season. These direct donations are usually sports specific. We also fund these through sponsorships. Our sponsorship fundraising program includes signage opportunities for local businesses to purchase signage to advertise during our football games, on our scoreboard at Bradley Field, in our gym, at our pool, and on our softball and baseball fields. This year, for the first time, we have the amazing opportunity to offer prime real estate signage on Woodside Road and Alameda, as well as on the outside of our tennis courts. Thank you to Tim and Diane. In the next week or so, you will be hearing from our signage chair teams, Susie Rolfus and Jeannie Jackson, about how you can either purchase signage in one of these special areas and or help us spread the word. Spiritware is currently on sale. This is another way for us to fund our programs. It's all online right now, all online. And if you are interested in getting a Woodside High School hoodie or PJ bottoms, they are selling fast. Our sponsorship chairs, Camilla Rowe and Karin Delphs, are working extra hard filling orders as they come in. You can find all the information about what is for sale through the link above. So Tim, you mentioned that you'd have this up. So if you guys want to come back, you can click on that link on Friday and we can take your orders straight from online. And our chairs are awesome. They're filling these really quick. Another fundraiser we have is the crab feed. The date set currently is February 6th, 2021. So save that on your calendars. This is a super fun adult event. It is an off-campus event at Red Morton. And yes, that means we do have spirits for sale at the event. This event brings together our sports families, coaches, and our Woodside High School staff to eat delicious crab salad and more, served by our student athletes, and at the same time listening to the Woodside High School Jazz Band. It's a super fun evening, and it's an evening not to miss, so save the date. Lastly, we do have our season ticket sales for football and basketball. We remain hopeful that our new winter and spring seasons will allow for us to have spectators and sell on-site season tickets. If not, we plan to be creative and we'll work with Tim on that. The ABO does rely on these fundraising efforts to support the Woodside High School Athletic Department, which consists of 22 sports, 45 teams, and over 700 athletes. Can you hit slide 3, please?
You got it.
Awesome, thank you. We believe that now more than ever, social media is a great way to communicate, and our plan is to post information for our athletic families on both our Facebook and Instagram pages. Above, you will find the links to follow us. At the top, you'll see our Instagram page and our Facebook page. Please follow us. It's our way of communicating with you. As we move into the fall, your ABO board is meeting to discuss how we can pivot and be agile to support Woodside Athletics this year. We know it's going to be different, but we're kind of excited about the challenge. So please contact us if you're interested in joining us as we launch into the fall and beyond using new methods to deliver and maximize the Woodside High School athletic experience. We would love to hear from you and are always looking for volunteers to join our team. Below you'll see all the members of our team. Super excited board. We're meeting tomorrow to start talking and planning. We would love to hear from you. Please email any of us. And you can use the woodsideabo@gmail.com to reach us. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Meredith. And just a huge shout out to our ABO and all our volunteers. They They really do such a great job at supporting all of our athletes. So we just so thankful for all of their work. So thank you so much, Meredith, for joining us tonight. Okay, before I jump into this, I just want to acknowledge that we have Dr. Shea on. He is joining our Zoom, and he oversees our trainers in the school district, and he works at Stanford. So we are very, very happy that he's joining us to listen in tonight. And he is a fantastic resource for us if anybody down the line has questions on safety, that sort of thing as we start moving into sports. But Dr. Shea, thank you so much for joining us, and we will definitely be utilizing your expertise in the months to come. Thank you so much. Okay, so
Tim,
Mr. V, yeah, Mr. V, how we doing?
Yeah, just a couple, one person and maybe others would like to know a little bit more about your leadership, your sports leadership class and what they do. I said you do Athlete of the Week, set up for games, help with the awards night, anything else you want to add in there in terms of your sports leadership. And it's open to 10th through 12th graders as an elective who join the leadership program.
Yes, correct. Yeah, it's one of 3 leadership classes that we have on campus. As I said, Miss Leslie With teaches the other 2 sections. We have endless things that come out of my section. Yeah, Athlete of the Week. We do Student of the Week. This past spring, we highlighted all of the senior spring athletes who lost their senior season, really. So we did highlights of all that. We have a beautification committee that runs out of that section. So all the paws down on Bradley, all the students did those. Outdoor ed, which is not sports related, but it comes out of my section. When we're actually on campus, it's promotion of the games, posters, social media, that sort of thing. So I could go on and on about my leadership class. I love it. If any side questions, feel free to email me on the side and I can jump into more details for you. Mr. V, anything else?
No, and then if you're interested in the student activities, student government, there's a link that was posted by our president of BOSA, Mr. Ethan Lau, and you can find out more about activities. One parent did bring up is that joining the leadership program doesn't guarantee you get the sports leadership class because
Right.
It's a one thing. So that's a good.
That is correct. Yes. Thanks, Mr. V.
Okay.
We're going to move on. So we're going to highlight, as Meredith spoke to a little bit earlier, about our summer program. Is a 5-week summer conditioning program that we had up here at Woodside. All 4 district schools took part in that. And it was very successful. It was athletes in a 12-to-1 student to coach ratio. It was a cohort group that we had. So each volunteer coach would have 12 athletes that stayed in that pod for the entire 5 weeks. And huge shout out to all of the volunteer coaches that volunteered their time this summer, and a huge shout out to Coach Peterson for his time this summer as well, to make our program really successful. It was, obviously the first time we've ever done anything like this, and it was very successful. We had a total of 20 summer cohort groups. We had 20 groups of 12 on campus 4 days a week. Attendance, we did attendance and temperature checks every single time the students came on campus. And like I said, it was very successful. So I wanted to highlight that. Okay. Here's our sports calendar. We shared this last Wednesday at the community night, and I wanted to put it up again to answer any more questions or maybe go into a little bit more detail on this new modified calendar, sports calendar for the year. It's split up, as you see, into 2 seasons. And this is from CIF, the California Interscholastic Federation. They oversee California high school sports, and it was approved by our section, the Central Coast section. Season 2 has a lot more sports than season 1, as you can see. So was at a meeting, and the rationale with kind of setting it the way it's set is last spring, as we know, spring sports got shut down in March. So there were actually a few teams that didn't even play a game. So that was stopped. So those sports are now in season 2, with the thought process being that there is a higher percentage that they would still be able to have a season. I'm not saying season 1's not going to happen, not saying that at all, but it was explained that season 2, there'd be a higher percentage of it having based on infection rates in the area, that sort of thing. An example, kind of when I first saw this, I kind of took a look at it. I was like, okay, it's loaded in season 2, and it does make sense to me how it was explained. I could give you an example. I got a question immediately on swimming and water polo. Well, if we move swimming to December 14th and water polo into March, water polo being a contact sport, swimming, not so much. Maybe we could get it done in the fall. I was like, yeah, that's a good question. And then I went to the meeting and kind of, heard the rationale. And so if swimming did get, I'm just using swimming as an example. If that did get moved to season 1 and infection rates stayed super high and there was a chance that, season 1 wouldn't happen or it got pushed back, then swimming or that same season 2 sport would not have a season 2 years in a row. So that's kind of the rationale behind this calendar. And it is heavy in season 2, and there's going to be some facility challenges that we're going to deal with, but we're going to make it work. Our coaches are all very, very professional and flexible, and we will make it work. So I wanted to put this up again and jump into a little more detail with this modified schedule. Mr. V, anything on that? Unmute. Chuck, unmute. There you go.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
One question said they saw a date of the first season beginning December 8th or football starting December 8th, but we have December 14th.
For an official contest, yes.
Oh, for an official contest.
Yeah.
Okay, so some of that information I sent was wrong. So practice will actually start on December 8th, but they could have a game on the 14th. Is that correct?
Well, we'll clarify that, but there could be some conditioning allowed before that, but December 14th is going to be the clear-cut date where teams can officially practice. So it would have been official start date for that sport.
Yeah. And, one parent asked a good question. Well, what's going to be different in December than is now? And we would just hope that it would, the health department and everything would say that it's basically safe enough to play, that the amount of infections or the risk of infections have gone down dramatically, and we would be able to move forward. So, really, we don't know that for sure, but that's our hopeful speculation.
Exactly. Yeah. Very, very well said. Yes.
And then already we have some questions about the 2 sports during one season, which you're going to talk about right now.
That is on this slide right now that we're gonna dive into here. Okay, and I just wanted to say one more thing about that calendar that I just had on. We are going to have to get creative this spring. So if spring if spring sports go off as scheduled with that calendar, it's going to be different. Teams may not be able to practice every single day, due to facility constraints. But details will come on that, obviously. But it is going to look a little different. So I just want to kind of prepare everybody for that. But we are very, very encouraged that we do have guidance and guidelines and actual dates that we can plan for. Okay, so I just put this slide up, just some major things from the CIF. They're just some bylaw modifications, kind of wordy, but just basically the gist of number 1 is about club sports. Students will be allowed to participate on their club team at the same time as their high school team. So that has not been allowed as PAL rule, that has not been allowed, but that is lifted for this one season. So students will be allowed to do club sports at the same time as their high school team. Number two, it's basically about the summer period being extended to December 12th. Basically what that is that gives us a window to continue our conditioning based on county, I'm just based on the county guidelines and our directive from the school district. So this bylaw modification here allows us to do that if the county and we get approval from our school district to be able to do so. So I want to make sure that that's clear. When we do get a directive, we will act on it. If we're going to be able to do it, we are going to do it. I'm assuming it's going to be a cohort model. We have the summer cohort model that was a big success that we can model from. So we have that in place already. So if we are given the go, it should be a smooth transition. I don't know right now right now we're in a holding pattern. I don't have a date where we can begin. And as soon as I know, as soon as we know, you will know. Next one, and here's the PAO one. It has been approved to allow students to participate in 2 high school sports at once. So you saw season 2. Let me pick two sports. So if I pick basketball and baseball, a student now will be allowed to participate in 2 sports at once. Okay. With that, we have discussed as a site, Mr. Velskow and I talked, that with that, we're going to want the students who do choose to do this before their season starts to come tell me. We'll sit down with me. We'll have a little meeting, and I want to know that student is going to do both sports. Then we'll communicate out to both coaches that is what's going to happen. We'll make sure Sportsnet is all updated with the student on both rosters and that sort of thing. I think the big thing with this rule or this ruling is communication is going to be key between the student athlete who is doing this, both of their coaches, and me if needed. I have no doubt that all of our coaches are very, very professional and will handle this in a great way with the best intentions of the student athlete. And that is our goal. But I think we'll do everything possible to keep communication lines open with this ruling for this year. We've never done this before. So communication, as always, is going to be key. And I linked what we just went over. I linked all that in that press release that you can find on the CCS website. Mr. V?
Yeah, just some questions regarding, why the conditioning pods stopped. So we had to stop everything per CCS guidelines. There's a normal dead period that always happens before sports. So that was still held in place. At the same time, San Mateo County went on to the watch list. And at that time, the district decided it would be in the best interest to stop the pods. Let's push the pause button momentarily on the pods. And then we are waiting and hoping that we can restart them soon. Is that correct, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we decided we're going to take the 2-week break after the 5-week that aligns with the CCS dead period in normal years, but we decided to take the 2-week break, and yes, then we were put on the watch list, and now we are in the holding pattern. Yes, correct. Anything else, Mr. V?
And then just like there was a question about when track conditioning starts, but hopefully we can start up all the conditioning very soon.
Yeah, and that's a really good question. When is this going to happen and that sort of thing. Look, as soon as I know or we have a date, I know all the coaches who have reached out to me who want to continue this in the fall, they will be communicating to all of the athletes. And it's great now because most of the students are registered in Sportsnet now. If not, my next slide shows you how to do that. and the coaches now have their team lists. And so communication becomes much, much easier with their team now that everybody is logged into Sportsnet. The communication becomes just way, way smoother. Okay, and I'm going to end here with just some really, really important reminders. As we talked about earlier, the 3 seasons have been condensed into 2 seasons, obviously. Sophomores, juniors, and seniors are going to earn PE credit for completing an on-campus sport. Okay, so that has not changed. So you compete in an on-campus sport, you'll receive PE credit. Required for in-season sports participation. So now, moving into the school year now, we're requiring Sportsnet registration as well as a physical, an updated physical. And once you get that done, it is valid for 1 year. A huge, huge shout out to Miss Zyra Padilla again for going through there and clearing a lot of those students. As soon as you register online on Sportsnet, we get a ping in our email and we go in there and clear that student. And once that happens, the student gets assigned to their sports roster. So very important for Frosh families that haven't registered yet. Once you register, it will ask you on there what sport you want to participate in. Put the sport you want to participate in. That allows us to place the student athlete on the team. And that's how the coach is going to communicate. So very, very important. Link for the registration forms can be found on our WHS athletic website, and I linked that in here as well. It's the same place that you found the link to this Zoom, if you didn't find it on the ABO social media. And as always, if there's any questions, feel free to email me. Email is the best way to get a hold of me, and my email is right there. And I'm happy to help with any questions that come up, because we may have a lot of them. But again, I want to end this with, we are very, very encouraged that we've been given direction from CIF and CCS and the PAL, and we have set dates that we can plan around, in hopes to get our athletic seasons in. So very, very encouraged for that. I just really want to thank everybody for joining us, taking the time for joining us tonight. We really appreciate your time tonight. And even though it's not the normal barbecue, this is the next best thing. I always want to be positive. I try to always be glass half full with everything. So I've been really looking forward to just meeting all of you on Zoom. And we'll definitely meet down the road for sure in person. But thank you so much for joining us. And as always, we always like to end with a Go Wildcats. Have a great night. So now you have about 20 minutes, freshman parents, to stretch your legs, walk around for a little bit, and then Miss Burbank will be hosting her 6 p.m. Frosh orientation via Zoom. Mr. V, anything before we leave?
Yeah, just a couple real quick.
Sure.
I had the same question we had from a parent regarding PE credit if the seasons were canceled. We are having a administrator camp tomorrow, and I asked that question. So hopefully we will get that taken care of in the next week or so, if that should happen. And then, and Tim, you can confirm this, but transfers are still have to sit out per CCS and CIF bylaws, correct?
Yeah, sit out periods have been moved. The dates are obviously a little bit different, but yeah, any transfers who are on the Zoom call right now, I've gotten a lot of CCS paperwork from a lot of you guys, but if you are a transfer and you haven't reached out to me, please do, and we'll get you the appropriate transfer paperwork per Woodside and CCS. And
thank you to Mr. Perotti and Zyra. They took care of some people had a question about the physical form. So it looks like we got that up there as a link.
Oh, good.
All right. And then the Frosh orientation is a Zoom, and the link is posted as well on the chat right now. So we'll leave that up for a little bit.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Well, thank you everybody so much. Have a great night and go Wildcats.
Thank you. Have a great one.